Welcome to Twin number 34 this week in Nerd News. In less than 5 minutes, with 5 stories, I want to share with you what we should be paying attention to in this industry of technology and cybersecurity. Now, I'm sure this one came across everyone's radar this past week, but the T-Mobile breach is actually very serious. This is not the first time this has happened, and I'm afraid we're getting calloused over events like this that make information available that allow anyone to take out a loan on a victim's credit. Name, address, date of birth with photo ID to back it up. That's all that is needed to be known by a criminal in order to take out financing with many vendors. What makes this especially bad is that there's very little that any one of us can do about this. But let's not get calloused. This week we have yet another critical IoT, Internet of Things vulnerability that CISA and Mandiant together have warned us about. The manufacturer ThruTech's clients include IoT camera manufacturers, smart baby monitors, and DVR products. Now, device or credential compromise could become the first stage towards a more malicious cyber attack on networks of all sizes. So what our takeaway is that for each event of this nature is a reminder that network segmentation at least limits the weaponization of such exploits to cause damage beyond the exploit or takeover or damage on the devices themselves. In other words, IoT devices should never, ever be on the same network as human-operated devices, servers, computers, tablets, smartphones. So keep IoT isolated as far as possible, and just know that we're not anywhere close from getting out of the woods. This next story, Cloudflare reports the largest ever reported denial of service attack. We're not sure if we should be grateful that companies this large are the only ones that can defend us, but in this case, it only took about 20,000 bots in 125 countries. And in recent history, we know that some botnet operators can accumulate participating nodes in excess of 1 million. So while we need the protection of the likes of Cloudflare, collectively we can also protect our networks from being a conduit for such attacks. So zero trust for the win. Now here's a feel-good story. This is a longer read on how macOS 11's hidden secret improvements pave a good path forward. This is in such contrast to Microsoft's admitted design flaw that gave way to the likes of Print Nightmare and Microsoft's half-hearted fixes that led to an admission of a fundamental design issue that simply will not be fixed. In fact, it's even part of Windows 11. Interestingly, though, we are starting to see early signs that Windows will slowly retreat to the background as it simply is becoming less and less practical to protect it. And the final story for today is about a security researcher who hacked Apple ID, which did get him a bug bounty. But what I learned from this is that attacks nowadays really are more and more sophisticated. But when a target as juicy as an Apple ID is on display, it does not need, it does need this level of scrutiny. It should not be overlooked. And I, for one, am grateful for security researchers who appear to work below minimum wage at times, it seems. And by the way, now that this is public, Apple obviously has patched it first. And did you know that all the years of Microsoft Paint jokes may not have fallen on deaf ears? This one is especially shared here for the benefit of you, our co-founder, John Harbarenko. John, who would have thought that MS Paint would get a redesign? Amazing. See you again next week.